All right, y'all, give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. It's up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they was testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive no honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. When I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Praise be to Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Back at it again. Pardon the lateness. Somebody asked us to come over there and put a little work on their block. And we got started a little late because my phone is trash. But here we go. Where we was at? What songs we been in? What, Psalm 69? Psalm 69. Psalm 69. What verse we at in Psalm 69? I guess we can read 69 and 5 just on the house. Oh, Elohim, you know my foolishness, and my sins are not hid from you. Let not them that wait on you, O Yahuwah Elohim of hosts, be ashamed for my sake. Let not those that seek you be confounded for my sake, O Elohim of Yasharal. Because for your sake I have borne reproach, shame have covered my face. Now, we had discussed with those people a matter that y'all are already aware of, which is in Proverbs 24 and 16. What a just man falleth 7 times. But what I did not elucidate with them was the fact of him falling in those 7 abominations is him bearing the reproach of the people. Because the people looked at Yahuwah with a proud look. The people's feet were swift to running to mischief, bearing false witness against Elohim, and many other, the rest, with this, of course, even the shedding of innocent blood. He bore that for the people. That's why he was able to rise again or be delivered from 7 troubles. So when we drop down, and I believe what verse that we stop in Psalm 69, I believe we stopped at about verse 16. That's where we'll pick this up at Psalm 69 and 16. And then, of course, continue our trip through looking at David and Saul. Hear me, O Yahuwah, for your loving kindness is good. Turn unto me according to the multitude of your tender mercies. Hide not your face from your servant, for I am troubled. Here I am in trouble. Hear me speedily. Now, of course, in delving with that particular matter, we talk about that and dealing with Job 5. I want you to come to Job 5. As forth as him being in trouble. I want you to come over here to about verse 15. Job 5 and 15. It says, but he saved the poor from the sword, from their mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. So the poor have hope, and iniquity stop her mouth. Let's delve into that. Of course, when we look at stop, we know what iniquity is. We're looking at stop, and we're looking at kafats. Kuf, pay, sod. To draw together, to shut up, or to be shut up to death, or to draw oneself together of death, to close, to shut, to stop up. So, it's letting you know, iniquity. Where's my verse at? I ain't gonna move like I said. I'm not on where I want to be because I'm off schedule. Aval, kafats, pay. Of course, you know Aval is that injustice, wrong, violent deeds of injustice. The violent deeds of injustice is going to be stopped or drawn together by the word. Now, when you look at, right, the light of the word, or the way is the light of the word. However you want to put that in regards to kafats, because this is what has to be made manifest. For violent deeds of injustice, the light and the way of the word must shine a light on that. See, the reason why I'm mentioning that is because what's in 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. You can make your way to it. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. Because this is going to still take us regarding with David and Saul. So praise Yahuwah. It works out either way. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. You can pick it up at verse 1. Y'all forgive me, I got a new one. I'm testing it out. I'm catching some. Shalom, Brother Reynolds. I'm catching some of the notes coming up off of me. I ain't got to the tobacco yet. Just the incense and the cinnamon. It's got some cherry in here and some licorice. The tobacco on the bottom. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 1. Paul and Silvanus and Timotheus, unto the house of the Thessalonians and Elohim our Abba and the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. Mercy unto you and shalom from Elohim our Abba and the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. We are bound to thank Elohim always for you, brethren, as it is meet, because that your faith grow exceedingly, and the love of every one of you all towards each other abounds. See, Paul, now when we look at this statement, we are bound to give thanks always, brethren, to you, for it is meet that your faith grow exceedingly. We see that with Jonathan and David, that their faith grew exceedingly because they were brethren. And of course, the love that they had to one another increased considerably. I don't know if we read that 1 Samuel 23. We did not. We're going to read it right now in regards to that statement, because I read it to myself. So I know that, yes, we have not read that as an individual, as a group, I should say. We have not went through that in that regard. We are holding 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, Psalm 69, which may very well possibly return to, what you call that? Hey, what's it called? Job chapter 5. I don't know if Psalms 1 Samuel 23 is what I want. Yeah, 1 Samuel 20 is what I wanted. I don't think we went over that. 1 Samuel 20 and 1. David fled from the oath, and Ramah came and said before Jonathan, what have I done? What is my iniquity? What is my sin before your father that he seek my life? Now, this is David saying this here, right? Did Yahushua say anything similar during the time of his death? And if so, what did he say and where is it at? Does anybody want to take a roll at that before we proceed? Shalom, man. The answer to that question is he did not say anything of that sort. Pilate did. Yahushua didn't say anything to them about what wrong did he do? What sin had he committed? Not at the time of his death. Now, he said it before that, something to that extent. Which one of you convinced me of a sin? And if I tell you the truth, Why do you not believe me? So that's one of the things that we mentioned when we were on that Google Meetup. Something that I've told y'all for years. The righteous will be persecuted by the wicked, and the wicked are going to be people who walk around holding scriptures and reading from the book of Yahuwah just like you do. It's amazing that people think that the enemy was always going to be from without, but the enemy is going to be from within. That's what he told you that in Micah chapter 7. Like, it's not anything. He said a man's enemies are going to be they of his own household. Why would the nations be enemies against you? Them people don't care about you. See, the only reason why you believe they're your enemy because of what you look like is because you bought into a racism narrative. People don't care about the color of your skin. They care about their tribe. They care about keeping their people in a particular position. Every race of people cares about that. You're the only one who doesn't. You know what I'm saying? You're the only one who doesn't. I'm talking about on a massive scale. So you can't see it that way. Because I'm here to tell you, people who have cultural differences of other people, then people do the same thing to them people in their lands, contrary to popular belief. You think the Afghans and the Russians went to war for 20 years because they just hated Afghanistan? So maybe it was a clash in culture, and the people didn't want nothing to do with what they had going on, and vice versa. So you can't believe everything these people shove down your throat. You know what I'm saying? They shove stuff down your throat to control you, to always keep you in an emotional state. That when certain events and things happen, then they can move the needle to make you react emotionally to get the desired result out of you, to put into performance the policies and mandates that they desire to execute because they know you simpler than a newborn baby. And that just ain't black people. That's all people. They know you simple. You don't never, ever want to tie yourself to anything that you know elicits emotion. If individuals put out things that elicit emotion, that's for the purpose of control and manipulation. That's why you know Yahuwah is a Ruach. That's why he seeks those to serve him, must serve him in Ruach and in truth, because there is no manipulation with Yahuwah. There is no moving you to any emotion. He's not trying to emotionally manipulate you to get you to do what he wants you to do. You're going to be moved to do what he wants you to do simply off of his word, knowing that his word is just and righteous altogether. You have to pay attention to that. The womanism, the quote unquote battle of the sexes, all that stuff is they playing you again because they know you stupid. They know it. I hate to put it that to you that way, but they know it. I'm talking about the masses in general. That's every nation, race of people on the earth. They know you stupid. If you in the word and you still get moved by stuff that happened to sinners in an emotional context, you would have to assess, am I really in the word? It's not to say that you wouldn't be mad or you wouldn't be upset at certain things that occur, but if you automatically get you have an emotional response. You understand? That's how you have to look at it. Why am I having an emotional response when I'm supposed to be ruled and dictated by a non-emotional entity? It doesn't make any sense. I'm talking about for us that say we in the faith and I got the spirit, but you move by emotion. You out here screaming, these people racist. These people care about keeping their power. Now guess what? Them Arabs did you the same way and still do. Is it because they hate niggas or do they want to make sure that you don't overtake them? The Egyptians look just like you and they did you the same way. Is it because they hate you? Now, the only thing they found to be an abomination of you would be in a shepherd, but that's a different conversation. That's a different conversation. That is a different conversation. Well, how many ibuprofen is it good to take in a certain hours, man? I don't know because I don't take them, so I'm not aware.
4 to 6 hours.
May I have one, please? Sylvan? Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had moved them. What's the name told me I ain't supposed. I took 2 this morning at one time. Is that safe? Bruce had made it act like I was gonna fall out and die. I don't know. I don't take that. I don't take ibuprofen. I don't take nothing. $800 milligrams. Yeah, she got 200 milligram tablets. I took 2 this morning at 400. I mean, I'm at 800 right now. For some reason, I feel like my stitches came out. My hand bleed. So my hand like bleed when I took a shower. I hope my stitches ain't came out.
You're playing hard.
I have not. Thank you. I just need you to redress it. They say I can't put nothing on my hand but soap and water.
I mean,
Thank you, Nisha. They said no. They was talking about and thank you, Monte. They were saying no antibiotic, like no Neosporin, no stuff like that.
oh no, not on station. They got that.
Okay, yeah, I took that this morning when I left the house. That was like 8 something. All right. 1 Samuel 20:2. I appreciate y'all responses because I don't know nothing about no drugs. I don't take no drugs. I get a headache, I go to sleep or just suffer through it. Twenty and 2. And he said unto him, Elohim forbid, you shall not die. Behold, my Abba will do nothing either great or small, but he will show it me. But that he will show it me, and why should your Abba hide this thing from me? It is not so. David sware moreover and said, your father certainly know that I have found mercy in your eyes. He said, let not Jonathan know this, lest he be grieved. Oh, no, them ain't drugs. Those are narcotics. And I don't know about them because I ain't use them.
But you do know about it. You was giving Will a whole lesson the other Shabbat.
What was you talking about?
Oh, we don't know now.
I don't know. What do you speak of, ma'am? Ma'am.
You know the difference between crack, cocaine.
I mean, I know what they look like.
No, you know the whole thing. You know how to cook. You know how to.
Oh, I took dare and classes like that, just like y'all. You ain't take dare?
They didn't have that.
Man, I know y'all nigga took dare. I know they gave y'all the dare t-shirt.
I did. That wasn't popping in my time.
Wasn't popping in your time. That's why you ended up on drugs, drinking alcohol, being grown.
I didn't end up on drugs.
True, you smoked marijuana, you was on drugs.
All right.
Nah, so I was just trying. What buddy said? What his name is? That ain't what his name is. Dave Chappelle say, my name is I forgot what his character name. He said, I'm on marijuana. Marijuana's not a drug. And he said, I suck penis for coke. You ever suck penis for coke? The only reason why it was funny because it was Bob Saget, the dad from Full House. That's what made it funny. Which is even more ironic because Bob Saget does I ain't showing my age. Shoot, there's a lot of people went through there.
That's what I said. That wasn't popping then.
Shoot, they probably gave up. Shoot, Darius said he definitely did in elementary school. And he y'all age. Talk to him.
He went to a different elementary school. They wanted to teach.
So look at that. Sean said, I don't think none of us followed through on that dare play. Nigga, I ain't crazy.
I ain't say you was.
Y'all just, you was skipping school that day.
No, they just didn't do that at my school.
Oh, because you went to the Smarty Art. You was with the Smarty Art cheering, huh? Yeah, you wasn't in the hood going to school with the niggas.
Oh, my school was in the hood.
Where your school was at?
By EWC.
Yeah, EWC. What school you went to by EWC?
Jackson.
It definitely was mandatory, and they probably gave up and said, all these children getting on drugs anyway, what's the point? They don't want to be clean. If we get them clean, we ain't gonna be able to lock them up.
We definitely did that in elementary school.
I did it in elementary school.
Yeah, we ain't good, bro.
That nigga say Darius from the Jets, he don't count. No. Shoot, Deidre is too, though.
No, I'm not.
Deidre definitely from Eureka Gardens.
Y'all funny.
You see it in Eureka Gardens.
I am not from Eureka Gardens.
She from Eureka Gardens. But let's keep on rolling, right? Verse 3. David swear, moreover, your father certainly know that I found mercy in your eyes. Let not Jonathan know this, lest he be grieved. As truly as Yahuwah live and as your soul live, there's a step between me and death. Let's talk about it. A step between me and death. Step is a word that all of you should recall. It is Allah. Oh, no, it's a different word. I'm sorry. Pei sa, literal step, a stride. Pei, Shan, and Ayin. The word is going to cause you to experience a manner of consumption. You're going to have to be consumed. And there's a step or a stride between him and death. Now, when we look at that for death or between, we have Bain Mave. We know what that is. Excuse me. Mave, that's death. But Ban, between, among, in the midst of, from between. Bat, Yod, and Noon. So we sit back and we see that the right hand brings forth life from his house. Now, you remember he told you that he became a house that was made without hands. So there's a stride between him and death. There's a step. There's a work. There's a traveling that must be taken. Look at verse 4, what Jonathan says. Then said Jonathan unto David, whatsoever your soul desire, I will even do it for you. See, that's also around the same lines of what you read when he say, whatever you ask in my name, I will do it. Remember, Jonathan is who Yahuwah is given. David is the beloved. So David in this instance, or a lot of these instances, is representative of Yasharal because he's the one in the weaker state who's being persecuted by Saul, who is the adversary, who will be representative of Satan because he is representative of sin. So sin is seeking to attack the beloved. Because if you pay attention to the story of Jonathan and David, Jonathan was the intercessor and the protector and the deliverer of David in their interactions. David was not the deliverer in the interactions with Jonathan and David. And why is this the case? What position did Jonathan hold? Talk to me. Not just the intercessor, I mean in the literal sense. What position did Jonathan hold? In the literal sense.
Well, in the army?
He was in the army. He was in the army now. What position did Jonathan hold? This is an easy one too. Don't overthink it. That is correct, gentlemen, both of you. He was Saul's son. He was the right hand of his father, i.e., he was the son of the king. And if he's the son of the king and he is the one that Yahuwah is given, you see in a lot of interactions, Jonathan is representative of Yahushua. Let's continue. Look at verse 5. David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon. I should not fail to sit with the king at meat. Let me go, that I may hide myself in the field until the third day at what? At even. Y'all know that. That's easy. But let's sit back and show you why it's easy. Can any of you gentlemen tell me what the word for moon is versus the word for new moon? I'm talking about the Hebrew word, that is. Who can tell me the word for moon versus the word for new moon? She's asleep. Huh?
I said, yeah, I was doing it.
Oh, little dusty feet. Little dust. Y'all don't know? Y'all can't tell me? Y'all ain't got nothing for me? I don't think they got nothing for me, y'all. That's right. That is the word for moon. It is your rock. What is the word for new moon? And I'm asking these for a specific reason. That's right, Kadash, which means new month, new moon. Let me say new month. The new moon, month, monthly, first day of the month. Also renewing. Of course, you have Kot, Dalit, and Shan. We see that the consumption of a hanging causes a manner of separation, which is why you see him going into the field at the third day at even. Why is the field important? John chapter 18. Now, there's an instance where Yahushua was not going to go and sit up at a feast. Who knows what feast it was and where that passage is located. But what's most important is he did end up going. But what feast was it that he was not going to go up for? Or he allowed people to believe that he was not going to go up for? Who can answer that question? Anybody got an idea? Dedication? Anyone else? That is correct. It is Feast of Tabernacles. And I will accept that dedication answer because dedication and Feast and Tabernacles are the same. I know most people, that's right, yes, ma'am. I know most people look at Feast of Dedication and think about Hanukkah, but and what's in the Apocrypha. But when you look at this text and you see the Feast of Dedication, when you see it with Solomon in Chronicles, it was Tabernacles, and they were dedicating the temple or the house of Yahuwah. That was let me get that for those who don't know what I'm talking about. Come over here to Second Chronicles. I want to say chapter 7, and I am correct. Second Chronicles chapter 7. You can pick it up at verse 7. Second Chronicles 7 and 7. Moreover, Solomon hollowed the middle of the court that was before the house of Yahuwah. For there he offered burnt offerings and the fat of shalom offerings before the brazen altar, which Solomon had made, was not able to receive the burnt offerings and the meat offerings and the fat. At the same time, Solomon kept the feast 7 days, all Yasharal with him, a very great congregation, from the entering in of Hamath unto the river of Mizraim. And in the 8th day, they made a solemn assembly. They kept the dedication of the altar 7 days and the feast 7 days. And on the 23rd day of the 7th month, he sent the people away into their tents, glad and merry in heart for the goodness that Yahuwah had showed unto David and unto Solomon and to Yasharal and his people. When you see that he sent them away at the 23rd day of the 7th month, we see that when we look at dedication in this particular instance, especially when you see that in John chapter 10, when they say it was a feast of dedication and it was winter, but we know there's only 2 seasons. So when you see that winter and that feast of dedication that you see in regards in John 10, it is more than likely referring to booths, to tabernacles, than it is to the feast of dedication of the Maccabees. why would Yahushua be concerned with the Feast of Dedication of the Maccabees? But that's only because most of us are not aware that Tabernacles is referred to as a Feast of Dedication, because this is when the house was dedicated, dedicated translating to consecrate, or Kadash, or hollow, or made separate. But see, that's another conversation for another day. Because when you look at Solomon setting apart the house of Yahuwah during tabernacles or booths, that makes absolute common sense that he would sanctify the house of Yahuwah during the time of booths or tabernacles or of the temple. That's just common sense. This is something that I told those brothers and sisters. Come over here to Matthew chapter 13 real quick, like before we read this John 18. This is something I told them brothers and sisters on that call. You come over here to 13 and 46 on the house. And this is something that I've told y'all, but some of you've never heard it, so I'm going to tell you now. Everything from Matthew to Revelation can be found in Genesis to Malachi. If an individual tells you that it's can't, or that's just his opinion, or this, that, there, and the third, I'll just tell you right now, that's an unskilled person in the word of Yahuwah. They're not a skilled scribe. And I'll tell them that to their face. A lot of individuals, they like to speak as if the breath of Yahuwah is in them, which has moved them to bear witness of his word, and the truth is not in them. He has not given them leave nor authority to speak on his behalf. Anyone who is skilled enough in the text should have the ability to show you the end from the beginning. Meaning, they should be able to give you the witness of Yahushua starting in Genesis to Malachi and never go into the quote unquote New Testament. And an individual who say, oh, I'm New Testament, I'm a Christian, this, that, there, and the third, whatever they want to call it, they should be able to go from Matthew to Revelation and show you everything he told you in Genesis to Malachi, because it's the same word. There is no difference. They're not diverging opinions. They're not fighting against themselves. They're saying the same thing. They meet in unison and they meet in one. It's that we are a proud, arrogant generation that believes that we who have only been walking in the word. No, we don't read from the Apocrypha because there's contradictions of it in the text. I don't knock anybody who does, but I referenced the Feast of Dedication and that the Maccabees started. It's commonly referred to as Hanukkah, but in the Apocrypha, it is referred to the Feast of Dedication. Most shalom, bro. Most Israelites in this time period, when they see that John chapter 10 and it says it was the Feast of Dedication, it was winter, they automatically link it to the dedication feast of the Maccabees, aka a Hanukkah, or the Feast of Lights. So it's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Those most brews are not aware that Solomon threw a feast during tabernacles for the dedication of the altar of the house of Yahuwah. Most brews are not aware of that. So they don't have the understanding to put. Most brews know it's only 2 seasons, but still tell you it's fault. Praise Yahuwah for that, Sean. Matthew 13 and 46. Who and when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Again, the kingdom of Shamahim is like unto a net, that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind. And when it was full, they drew the shore and sat down and gathered the good in the vessels, but the bad cast away. So shall it be at the end of the world. The Malachim shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just, and they shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Yahushua said unto them, have you understood all these things? They said unto him, yea, Lord. Then he said unto them, therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the reign of Shamahim, the dominion and the rule of the eternal. And you see kingdom of heaven, that's what you have to understand, that is what that is saying, that is the dominion and the reign of eternity. Not just some random statement, not some cliche thing to throw out there. It is the literal reign and dominion of the living Elohim. So someone who is instructed, that somebody who say they're a scribe or a teacher of the word, you're supposed to be instructed into the dominion and rule of Yahuwah himself. See, I'm saying this here, and I'm trying to impart it in this particular fashion for us to understand the gravity of what he is saying. Someone who is instructed in the dominion of heaven, the rule of God himself. Not just some anecdotal stuff to be spitting out your mouth, not to say I'm an Israelite and beat on your chest. Boy, that jump bigger than that, my G. Because no one has ever seen the dominion and rule of heaven. You've seen him give that authority to men, but you ain't never seen him do it. You know what I'm talking about? And you really think that this man is going to give the information about his rule and dominion to Rudy Poos, startups, and dummies? You got people out here telling people, you supposed to be fishing for souls. No. Come on, man. Listen what he said. Therefore, every scribe which is instructed. That means you had to be taught in that. Whether by Elohim himself or by man, somebody had to teach you that. You can't sit at the house and teach yourself that. You ain't got no book for that. Well, you got bruisers sit back and say they taught themselves you a lie from hell. Then they be like, Yahuwah my teacher, the Ruach my teacher. Boy, you're lying on that man again. Because the minute you say that, you say you an apostle, and you're going to have to be able to show me this man out the volume of the book, if that's the case, because that's what he used his spirit to teach men to do. We got book for that. That's what he did. So who am I going to believe? I'm going to believe the word, or I'm going to believe you. See, a lot of dudes play a lot of game, man. You got to stick to the script every time. What does the word say? What did he say? If it go with the word, man, roll with it, man. That ain't nothing. Now, I'm not telling you to be looking at every dude who preached the word cockeyed and sideways and this, that, and the third, but you're supposed to know the word well enough to know, oh, he ain't got a pack. Well, I know the plug ain't hit him off with nothing. See, what people get caught up at is, oh, if he ain't got the same doctrine, I know you who ain't with him. Oh, no. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying in the least bit. What I'm saying is what he said in John chapter 4. Come over here to John chapter 4. It might be 3 that I desire. I think it's 3. Come over here to John chapter 3. We still hold to John 18. We finna swing right on over there. Just a moment. John chapter 3, verse 31. You playing video games over there? So now you want to be sarcastic. You gonna have to shoot me a fade later.
I mean, weren't you? I know you couldn't be serious.
Dead serious.
No.
You over there playing Game Boys. All right. I need a fade, cuz. High and tight.
I'll make sure I get my clippers.
I got mine right here.
Good.
It's gonna be me and you. Pow! Right in the kisser.
I'll make sure I line you up just the way I like it.
Oh, how you like it? That nigga get that doggone fade so bad. I don't want no fade, nigga.
Oh, now you don't want the fade. Oh.
No, not that fade. I want that fade.
No.
That's fisticuffs.
Now you don't want the fade. Y'all heard it.
John 3 and 30. He must I said 31. He that come from above is above all. He that is earthy is of the earth is earthly, and speak of the earth. He that come from heaven is above all. That's one of the things that you would have to understand. Somebody who's been instructed into the dominion of heaven versus someone who is not. They're going to speak of heaven. They're not going to speak of the earth. Remember, he told you to let your mind be in heaven where Mashiach sit at the right hand of the Father. You know, I remember the first time I heard somebody say, oh, you too heavenly minded to be any earthly good. I guess that means Elohim can't be no earthly good because he ain't nothing but heavenly minded. That's how stupid people are, because people want you to be carnal. So if you've been instructed into the kingdom of heaven, you're going to speak of things that are heavenly. Remember what he told, what his name was? What his name was? Nicodemus. He said, if I told you things of the earth and you haven't believed, what make you think if I tell you things of heaven, you're going to believe? You can't even understand this. So I know if I tell you this, you're not going to catch this. Keep on rolling with it, man. He say, and what he have seen and heard, that he testified. No man received his testimony. He that received this testimony have set to his seal that Elohim is true. If you have received the testimony of Yahushua, you have proved that his Father is true. For he whom Elohim sent speak the words of Elohim. Elohim give not the Ruach by measure unto him. I beloved the Son and have given all things into his hand. He that believe on the Son have everlasting life. He that believe not on the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of Elohim abide on him. But look at what he said. He who Elohim sent are going to speak the words of Elohim. He said, you hear them not because you are not of Elohim. That's what he told the people in John chapter 8 now. That's what he told them. Let me finish this Matthew 13:52, and then we come back over here to John chapter 18. We also hold in 1 Samuel chapter 20, Psalm 69, and Job chapter 5. Then he said unto them, therefore every scribe which is instructed unto the kingdom of Shamahim is like unto a man that is a householder, which bring forth out of his treasure things new and old. So you have to pay attention. This is not my standard. Just let that be known. But based off what this man just said, which y'all should know should take you back to Ecclesiastes, that the preacher is able to set in order many proverbs. Come over here and look at it for those who don't know what I'm talking about. We ain't going to stay around that long. Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Because they have to have that ability. This is Elohim's standard. This is not mine. This is how you have the ability to know this person has the word and this person doesn't. Because if anybody tell you, oh, I'm the only one who got it, or you can't get it from nowhere else, or we the house of the truth, or this, that, and the third, that nigga's a liar. Yahushua is the house of the truth. Wherever he dwells, there's where the truth is. So the house of the truth can be all over the place. That's not mutually exclusive to one location. And we should already know that because the Lord already told you that. He said, if they be with us, they can't be against us. Can't nobody speak evil about me. If they talking about me, he said, if they with us, then they for us. See, y'all got to be able to peek the egos and the selfishness and the proud and haughty looks of men who want to be seen, known, and acknowledged. Them niggas with low self-esteem and need validation and validity of men. You have to pay attention to that, man. When you look in the text, those men in this book, they didn't care nothing about getting validated by nobody. Most of those men walked alone because nobody wanted to fool with them. They didn't seek to try to curry the favor of the people who listened to them. What benefit or profit was Samuel going to get from that? What was Moses going to get from that? You have to pay attention to that. But we too grown to have this man instruct you in great detail on what not to get caught up with to be walking around here this stupid. You know what I'm saying? Walking around here like we don't know what's going on. I had to tell them brothers and sisters that earlier what I done told y'all many times. You can't be walking around to me. We don't know who are the truth and who ain't. Nigga, you's a lie if you ever told one. So what you mean you don't know somebody if they are Elohim or if they don't? Oh, I know what it is. You'll say it about a Gentile. You'll say it about a Christian. But if it's a brute that you cool with, you won't sit back and be able to assess, well, that boy don't believe his word and that boy they're evil. Because they be knowing the stuff these dudes be out here doing. But don't nobody want to say nothing because you want people to click on your channel and subscribe. You want people to support what you're doing and come to your events and send you bread. Well, I don't care about none of that. I ain't got no event, so I don't care if you come. We've been on here a long time. Ain't got 1,000 subscribers, so I don't care about that. And I don't ask niggas for money, so I tell you the truth. Now these dudes know these women out here are funky hoes. These women been with 3-4 different dudes in one calendar year. Don't nobody say nothing. Most of these dudes know some of these Hebrew dudes knocking down dudes' wives, pure D whoremongers telling lies, scalping people for change for whatever means they scalp it. Dudes around here hating on dudes, talking greasy. Wish they could be the one that they perceive to be the man that everybody want to come to. These niggas blame. Don't nobody say nothing. You know, he waking up the flock. Oh, you know, we got to wake up our people. Man, bump all that junk. Be a man, call that whole nigga out for the coward bastard that he is. You wicked, no good person, you. Where your nuts at? Oh, okay, so I get it. You do it for the people. You don't do it for Yahuwah. That's your first mistake. Huh? That was the saying back in the day, what to do it for the vine, you better do it for the true vine. Stop doing it for the grapes. Sour grapes, wild grapes that can't even be eaten. But we delving into something that makes people uncomfortable. Ecclesiastes 12 and 9. Because I asked you this one question. You think Yahushua would be walking around here talking about, well, the brothers out there waking up the people, telling them their nationality, or do you think he'll be telling these dudes about themselves? You think he really care? That you've been on the corner all day with a doggone chart and some placards talking about you, the children of Israel? He'll look him dead in the face. Boy, I ain't never told you to come out here and tell nobody that. You tell me why I told somebody to go tell somebody that. And show me, well, Lord, we got to wake the people up to who they is. I never told you to tell nobody that. I told you to tell them about me, but instead you telling them about them. Now ask me, sir, how is that going to profit them? See, that's how we going to win them, Lord, with their nationality. See, that's how I know I didn't hire you, son. That's simple stuff that you can tell if you read the text. But you don't care because he's black and his mom and daddy black. And he got a black wife with black kids, so he can't be wrong. Or it doesn't matter. You make an excuse. You use your victimhood as a means to justify unruliness, disorder, and wickedness. But you're not a victim, sir. You're reaping the consequences of your actions. That doesn't make you a victim. Did not Peter tell you this? That if you suffer doing good, then Elohim will accept you. But if you be buffeted for your faults, he said, ain't nothing good about that. See, come on, let me read Ecclesiastes 12 and 9. I show it to you, Peter, because I think y'all think I'm just making this stuff up. Ecclesiastes 12 and 9. Moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. He gave good heed and sought out and set in order many proverbs. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words. That which was written was upright, even words of truth. The words of the wise are as golds, as nails fastened by the master of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. See, that word that comes from it can't come but from one shepherd, man. If it ain't coming from Yahushua and it ain't bearing witness to him, where you got that work from? That's why you say you can't come up no different way. You a thief and a robber with your lying self. For Peter. See, I'm different than most. See, I just sit off in the cut. I see these dudes sour, and I mind my business. I don't kick it with all of them, no way. And I ain't talking about every brew sour. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about the people who genuinely seek it and may have been given bad information. That's a different conversation. We talking about dudes, they know their information bad, and they ain't going to change it. They don't want to change it because they done carved out a niche for them. They need it. These dudes be dying for attention, man. I'm telling y'all, y'all don't even understand, man. These dudes, people ain't hug them, they ain't love them, man. 1 Peter chapter 2. You know how bad it is that you got to be walking around here, you upset at life because your daddy ain't hug you when you was a kid? Because your mama ain't give you no kiss? That she ain't tell you were special to her, you upset. Let's not pull out what Jesse Lee Peterson like to say. You ain't going to never be right till you forgive your mother. Your life gonna be miserable. A lot of dudes walk around here, you mad with your mama. You ain't forgave her for what she did to you. You ain't forgave your daddy. And guess what? Now you've become him. You know what I'm talking about? And you want somebody to feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for you, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I feel sorry for your offspring. That they got to suffer the same fate as you. Because you don't want to sit back and say, I gotta be better. Somebody finna cry for you, big grown rusty. Nigga, get over it. Your daddy was gone. Nigga, you're 35. You know what I'm saying? Go see somebody. Go get a therapist and stop crying like a little hoe. You know what I'm talking about? Get over it, man. Your daddy was gone. He wasn't there for you. Do you know what I'm saying? Your mama had scraggly, no good nigga coming in the house, jumping up and down her back. You was upset about it. Let it go. Your mama was a whore. It's okay. Your mama ain't the first whore. She ain't going to be the last. Do you know what I'm talking about? Your mama made bad choices. It's okay. You walk around here mad with that woman, you better let it go. Your life's still miserable. That's what's wrong with people. See, I got to say it that harshly. See, this was something I told y'all this before. I was taught this as a child, man. My people told us, man, we human just like y'all is. We not in imperfection and greatness because we your parents. We dealt with this, that, there, and the third. So because they humanized themselves, it was easy for us to look at them and say, well, shoot, I understand. They make this move, they make that move. They're a person just like everybody else. So it's not nothing to be walking around here. I'm mad with my mama. I'm mad with my daddy. Mad with him for what? Walk around here mad, being mad with people don't hurt nobody but you. You ain't hurting them. All you're doing is allowing your misplaced anger to destroy your physical being and your present and your future, and God forbid, the present and future of your offspring. And ain't nobody finna cry for you, Argentina. That's on you. You grown enough to do something about it. I done told y'all this for years, man. 0 to 24, I give you that. That's your people. Once you after 24, well, that's all you. And 24 is leeway, because you really could chop it down to about 22. You know what I'm saying? That's all you after that. Because you knew full well the decisions and choices that you was making. Yes, your environment may influence those choices, but at the end of the day, you making them. And if you allow what you had or what you didn't have to continually influence you into your 30s, you just a sorry, miserable human being that has no desire to release themselves from the things that they had. That's why they tell me, well, we got trauma, we got pain. How long you gonna live in it? So I wasn't raised that way, man, to wallow around in pity, sorrow, and pain. How long you gonna stay there? You know you can get up and leave. We make it seem like it's just a very difficult thing to get up and leave. It's not difficult, it just takes courage. Get up, nigga, and go. See, you would rather be weak, you know what I'm saying? And hope somebody will love the weakness out of you. This man has already loved the weakness out of you. Once he made himself weak, he made himself weak to give you strength. So why you just won't get up and go? Why are you allowing yourself to be defined by the lowest and worst parts of yourself? That makes no sense. We love to be defined by carnality. That's why we revel and relish in the fact that we Israelites, you want to dwell and relish in the lowest part of yourself. The greater part of yourself is in Elohim by becoming a son of Elohim, being a child of the promise. That is where your greatness resides. You would rather reside in the flesh and make excuses for what the flesh does and what you do, thinking someone is going to feel sorry for you, and no one is not. Because as the word says, what we choose to do, that is what we choose to do, because we were drawn away and enticed by our own desires. That's what you desire to do. What that boy say, you had on them see-through ones, you desired that. That is what you wanted. So you have to be able to deal with the fallout from what you wanted. When you want better, you will permit, you'll get better. But see, when you want better, and he gives you better, see, there's something that's in the middle, and that's the work that's going to have to be put in order to get the better. And that's what don't nobody want to do. You want somebody to hand it to you. You want somebody to hold your hand with it. Ain't nobody going to hold your hand. You're going to have to get your rusted behind up and put in that work, young nigga. That's what you're going to have to do. You want to be a man. See, I know it's different for women. Men have to know that. Anything a man get, he got to work for it. Ain't nobody giving him nothing. Nothing. He has to earn it. He has to do the things that is necessary and make the sacrifices and go through the pain necessary and required in order to achieve it. That's why I tell you, young women, if you know your husband is getting out here doing this, that, there, and the third, man, you better sit down and be quiet and don't be hounding that man about nothing. Because see, it's women out here based off their choices. They ain't got no man who gonna do that for them. They ain't got it. I don't care why they ain't got it. We ain't delved into that. They ain't got it, and you do. You ought to be grateful. What does that mean? You got people out here who ain't got no God, and you do. So why ain't you grateful by serving this man with joy, gladness, and with your whole mind, heart, and soul? Because you ain't got to be concerned with the things that people who ain't got no God concerned with. The same way if your husband is dependable and reliable as Yahuwah is, you ain't concerned with the things that a woman who ain't got no husband is concerned with. So why you got an attitude? Why you can't do stuff without, why you can't see there's a need and hold a fit, why you can't be the help me that you were created to be? Why do you feel you entitled to ABC 1, 2, 3? You ain't entitled to nothing. That's why I tell you, young men, you better make her earn what you give her. Because a woman should already be, before you even make a woman a wife, she should have earned that position, and cooking and cleaning ain't earning nothing. Because you should have been cooking and cleaning before I met you. We done told you that before. I cook and clean. So what? You were cooking and cleaning for a nigga didn't even know you existed on the earth, I would hope, if you're grown. as a woman. I hope you ain't living in no pigsty. I hope you know how to prepare a decent meal. That's just like saying a man coming and telling you, shoot, I pay bills. I hope you were paying some bills before you met her. I hope you had some manner of responsibility you were taking care of. I would hope so. You said that like that's just something like, woo, that's standard territory. That's standard territory. That makes no sense. 1 Peter chapter 2. Pick this up at verse 13, if you will. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 13. Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme, or unto governors, as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers, and for the praise of them that do well. For so is the will of Elohim, that with well-doing you may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. That's a lot of stuff that most people in this word don't understand. You could put to silence people by just keeping the word. You ain't got to fight and prove nothing to nobody. Because these people dumb, they don't know what they're doing. As free, not using your freedom for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of Elohim, understanding that you are where the Ruach of the Lord is, there is freedom. Understanding that if the Son shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. You shouldn't be using your freedom as a point to be malicious to people who don't like you. Yes, unfortunately, they are dead serious. Honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear Elohim, honor the king. Servants, be subject to your masters with all fear, not only to the good and the gentle, but also to the froward. For this is thankworthy, if a man for conscience towards Elohim endure grief, suffering wrongfully. For what glory is it when you be buffeted for your faults, you shall take it patiently. But if and when you do well and suffer for it, you take it patiently. This is acceptable with Elohim. See, that's what a lot of people don't understand. If you dead wrong, and you suffering for it, and you take it patiently, you don't get no props for that. Nigga, you wrong. You're wrong. But if you ain't did no wrong and you suffer, and that's what you seeing with David. You ain't realize that. David didn't do no wrong, and he took it patiently. That's why Yahuwah accepted him. That's why Yahusha got accepted. See, we thinking that you should get accepted when you out of pocket. Accepted by whom and for what? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Truth be told, that is not a masculine way of viewing things. Men ain't got no business viewing life in that fashion. See, we were talking about this in the chat earlier. Because I told you that some of that red pill junk, that junk, it did be pissing me off. That junk be, at the end of the day, you got too many dudes out here crying about women, man. Crying about women for what? For what? For what? Ain't got no time to be crying about what these women ain't doing this. Why you entertaining women who ain't giving you what you want? That don't even make sense. She don't like you. She don't want to do what you ask her. Then move on. Because that's what Yahuwah going to do. See, at the end of the day, you have to be a man. And when you a man, you can demand what you want. I ain't talking about get your money up to do it. I'm talking about get your manhood up to do it. Get your godliness up to do it. You do those two things Yahuwah permit, he going to increase the other stuff because that's light. I mean, say he take a man from a dunghill and set him amongst princes. So for him to increase your wealth is nothing. What he want men to increase is their masculinity and their faithfulness to him. Because when you do that, then you can rule justly. And when you rule justly, you can expel or invite whomever you so choose. But that's not what young men are out here doing. Let me say not young men, because young men can't do nothing but what they're instructed to do. This is not what older men are teaching the young men to do. So all they're doing is complain. That's like sitting around complaining about sinners. What I'm going to sit around? These sinners just won't keep their word. They won't come around here on no Sabbath. They won't do nothing. Well, who cares? I'm not going to be sitting around here talking about a bunch of people because you want a certain group of people to come over here and do it. See, most of these dudes who complain about women, they complain about women who don't want them that they want. You know what I'm saying? You want a particular person to want you and they don't want you. And that's what most people do with the word. You want people to want Yahuwah and they don't want him. So you complain about this, that, there, and the third. You're not complaining about the fact that these people are desecrating his Kadash name, that they are blaspheming his tabernacle throughout the earth, that they are offending and making the way of Yahuwah corrupt and defiling the earth and the inhabitants thereof through the desecration and annihilation of his covenant. See, that don't concern you. But let's come over here to John chapter 18. Because we were talking about a field from 1 Samuel 20. Let's begin there. 1 Samuel 18:1. And when Yahushua had spoken these words, he went forth with his disciples over the brook of Cedron, where was a garden, into which he entered, and to his disciples. Judas also, which betrayed him, knew the place, for Yahushua oftentimes resorted thither with his disciples. So we're just looking here for the fields. Now, of course, you know, at the conclusion, you're being reckless. At the conclusion of John chapter 19, you know that there was a sepulcher in a field, in a garden, where never man had been laid. And this is where Yahushua was hidden at for 3 days, the same way that David was hidden in a field for 3 days. Returning to 1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 6. If your father at all miss me, then say David earnestly asked leave of me, that he might run to Bethlehem, his city, for there's a yearly sacrifice there for all the family. If he say thus, it is well, your servant shall have shalom. But if he be very wroth, then he shall be sure that evil is determined by him. So then he tell him, go for a yearly sacrifice. So then you would have to ask yourself, well, what month is this that they're in? Let's continue. Verse 8. Therefore you shall deal kindly with your servant, for you have brought your servant into a covenant of Yahuwah with you. Notwithstanding, if there be in me iniquity, slay me yourself. For why should you bring me to your father? Jonathan said, far be it from you, for I know certainly that evil will be determined by my father to come upon you. Then would I not tell you? Then said David to Jonathan, who shall tell me? Or what if your father answer you roughly? Jonathan said unto David, come, let us go into the field. And they went out both of them into the field. Jonathan said unto David, O Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal, when I have sounded my father about tomorrow any time, or the third day, and behold, if there be good towards David, and I then sin not unto you, and show it you, Yahuwah do so much more to Jonathan. But if it please my father to do evil, then I will show it you and send you away, that you may go in shalom. And that Yahuwah be with you, as he has been with my father. See, this is telling you what type of man Jonathan is. Not only Jonathan said, I entered into a covenant with you, he swore by Yahuwah, let me go ahead and get my whole head knocked off if I don't do what I said I was going to do. See, come over here to Romans chapter 1. Now, I'll tell you this here, right? Most brews in this day and time don't make covenants with each other. That's your business. But if you make a covenant with somebody, you sure better do what you said you were going to do. For Romans chapter 1, verse 28. And even as they did not like to retain Elohim in their knowledge, Elohim gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of Elohim, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Elohim, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. So look at that, right? Of course, if you do it, if you're a murderer, then you're going to take pleasure in murderers. That's why they took pleasure in Barabbas, because they were a murderer. So, of course, they're going to take pleasure in murderers. What made them a murderer? They hated their brother without a cause. So they're going to take pleasure in Cain. These are harsh things that Bruce don't sit back and want to deal with. That's why I'm saying you stamping dudes because they quote unquote waking people up. That's going to tell me, according to the text, if you take pleasure in that, you must do it too. Because if you're a righteous individual, you're going to be vexed by any manner of unrighteousness, regardless of who does it. Look at the next thing he say, right? This man say, oh, people who hate Elohim. You take pleasure in people who hate Elohim? Let's look at what he said when he say they take pleasure, have pleasure in them. Let's see what that translates to in this Greek. Let's see what because I want you to know exactly what it says, exactly what's being conveyed. So ain't no guessing, ain't no hoping, ain't no innuendo, ain't no speculation, none of that. When this man say have pleasure in them that do them, this Greek word is son eudokio. You be pleased to be together with and you approve of. You consent to, you agree, you applaud it. You feel gratified by it. You're pleased by it. You assent, which means you agree. That means you agree to it. You sit there and think about that. You in league with it. You in league with individuals who do things like that. You agree, you in league with people who break contracts? Because that's what a covenant is. You please to dwell with them? That tickles your fancy? That make you feel good on the inside? Why you think Yahushua rebuked them scribes like that and the people for living? We just read Wednesday, right, when he told them, man, beware they leaven of their doctrine. Because you can't take pleasure in that. So you mean to tell me you take pleasure in people who are deceitful? You know what a whisperer is? That's a slanderer. You take pleasure in that? Oh, so you take pleasure in people who do all unrighteousness. You take people who you take pleasure in people who covet things that don't belong to them. You take pleasure in unmerciful men. Oh, so I get it. So you take pleasure in people who are without understanding. That delights you. You're pleased to dwell with that. Well, you got a problem. That's a problem. Now, when we sit back and we look at those things, Saul was covetous. That's why he didn't retain this man in this knowledge. Saul also was a whisperer, a murderer, a backbiter, a hater of Elohim, a covenant breaker, and proud, and unmerciful. And most importantly, he was without understanding, and that's why he died. That's why he ended up staying. So you have to sit back and look at that because, again, everything is written for our learning. All these things point to certain things so you can know. I told them brothers this, and I'm going to tell y'all the same. I was raised to, you can learn from the mistakes of other people. You don't have to go through things yourself if somebody done already done it for you. Yahushua has already ran the gamut of all manner of suffering of resisting sin unto blood. You don't have to do that. You can learn from all your forefathers and the mistakes that they made. You don't have to go out here and make them yourself. To have an opportunity to learn from others versus taking the hard. If you know that you have an opportunity to learn of what not to do from the works of other people, but you choose to go learn it the hard way, you are, my friend, a special type of stupid. You are completely devoid of any type of cerebral cortex of any type. You have no type of intelligence ingrained within you whatsoever. You are a complete and utter imbecile. Because there's no way that if you have an opportunity to learn what not to do, that you would choose to just say, you know what, I'll go through it myself and see how that goes. What is wrong with you? Why would you do that? How does that make sense? How does that even sound plausible in your mind that I'm going to take the most difficult way possible and take myself through all manner of pain that I could have avoided by just seeing those three people did this and that's what happened to them. So I know what not to do when I'm faced with that situation. Come on back to 1 Samuel chapter 20. You got all manner of people. From what happened with the thing with Baal Peor, to what happened with the golden calf, to Saul, to Nebuchadnezzar, to the scribes and Pharisees, etc., of what not to do. Don't make them same mistakes. That makes no sense. From Cain to Esau to Ishmael. And see, you know why I mentioned Ishmael? Ishmael could have stayed in the house. But why did it? But I mean, outside of him, of course, not being an heir. But what is the thing that Ishmael did that caught Sarah's attention? Huh? I can't hear you. Correct. What is the thing that Ishmael did that caught Sarah's attention that expedited his departure? This is delightful. No, I say this right here. This Nilfar Dunil, delightful. Incense, cinnamon, cherry and licorice, tobacco, vanilla. Yes, sir. See, if he wouldn't have been sitting over there mocking, she may have not noticed him. He might have could have stayed. But as y'all already know, the carnal are always going to mock the righteous. They're always going to do it. They can't help but do it. David couldn't do nothing but Saul couldn't do nothing but mock David. He didn't know nothing other to do. And they do it because of envy. They do it because of covetousness, because they wish they were you. They wish that they had the favor that you had. Saul never had favor like David had. It grinded his gears. Versus he should have just been focused on, I'm the king of Yasharal and Yahuwah is with me. Why do I care about people saying David brought in 10,000s and me just thousands? That means I'm more concerned about the honor from one from another, not the honor that comes from Elohim only. That's what Saul's problem was. See, those are things that you can learn. You can sit back and look at. That's what happens to you when you get caught up seeking honor from men instead of honor from Yahuwah. When you seek honor from men, you make bad decisions because you're going to seek to placate men. That's a man who had no faith. First Samuel chapter 20. Verse 14. Yes, sir. So, well then. Well, I guess happy birthday. Birthdays ain't a big deal around these parts, but if it mean that much to you, I suppose. Oh yeah, let me make sure I get what Darius asked me for too. And I say this here, man, don't be a fan of me because I ain't nobody to be a fan of. Be a fan of Elohim. You don't need to be a fan of me. I ain't nobody to be no fan of. And more importantly, never be a fan of another man. You can appreciate what a man does, but never be a fan of another man. Because at the end of the day, every man is capable of doing the same things that other men do, if Yahuwah permit. So there's no need to ever be the fan of another man. First Samuel chapter 20, verse 15. But you also shall not cut off your kindness from my house forever. No, not when Yahuwah have cut off the enemies of David, every one from the face of Yahuwah. I think I skipped a verse. I did. I skipped verse 14. My apologies. You shall not only while yet I live show me the kindness of Yahuwah that I die not, but also that you shall not cut off kindness from my house forever. No, not when Yahuwah have cut off the enemies of David, every one from the face of the earth. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, Let Yahuwah even require it at the hand of David's enemies. What do we take from that? The covenant that they made was that the kindness of David or the beloved would be upon Jonathan's house. When we look at even require, that is to exact or desire or to demand, Bakash, Bat, Kuf, and Shan. When we sit back and we look at this here, right? He said, do not cut off the kindness from my house forever. No, not when Yahuwah have cut off the enemies of David. We were in 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. I forgot about it, but look how Yahuwah worked. Bring us right back around that corner. So that corner is where we're going to travel back to 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. I believe that I stopped off at about verse 3, so we're presently in verse 4. Presently in verse 4. Thank the Lord. Yahuwah is good, and his mercy endures forever. So that we ourselves esteem you in the houses of Elohim for your patience and faith and all your persecutions and tribulations that you endure. You see that. You see that with David. That all the persecutions and tribulations that he endured because of his patience and faith, Yahuwah avenged him. Verse 5, which is a manifest token of the righteous judgment of Elohim, that you may be counted worthy of the kingdom of Elohim, for which you also suffer. Remember, was David going to take over a kingdom? Yes. Yes, he was. And him going through that suffering was a manifest mark of the righteous judgment of Elohim, that man was found worthy enough to suffer for that. He just didn't, he could have killed Saul, he could have disposed of Saul and sat David up to be king, but instead the manifest token of the righteous judgment of Elohim allowed you to see David suffer to get it. The same way you saw Yahushua suffer to get it. Seeing it is a righteous thing with Elohim to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. Now let me ask you this question, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. Did Saul suffer tribulation? Was he recompensed tribulation because of the trouble that he extended unto David? That's a yes or no question. Daedra says yes. What say you? Oh, Lord. I ain't gonna go too long, but I ain't gonna cut y'all super short because we came late. I ain't gonna do that. Don't everybody run up there at once now. Don't everybody run up there at once now. I guess don't nobody want to share this evening. So y'all mean to tell me what I just had? I don't even remember. Oh, was Saul recompensed tribulation for the trouble that he bestowed upon David? Was he recompensed with tribulation? Yes or no? You would say yes, Michael. Why would you say yes? Since you put it that way. You say yes, and I'm just asking that just because I'm glad you framed the question that way. It gives you a chance to elucidate upon your answer. Why would you say yes? For troubling David, he was troubled. Right. I only say that because usually when, and I'm just speaking for me, like if you make the statement, I would say, sometimes people ask you, oh, why would you say that? So that's why I'm asking that, just based off of that. You know what I'm saying? That's really one of the elements in that book, what it is, that Carnegie book, whatever that junk called, in regards to influencing people and this, that, and the third. They always tell you to cause an individual to speak, and more importantly, to speak about themselves. It's what makes people like you. But I ask y'all that in order for your brain to turn. Because I know you more than likely have the answer, but have you ever heard yourself say it out loud or say it in your mind if you don't say it out loud? There's a reason for that. Not that affirmation stuff that people say, but when you hear it in your brain, will it click? Or more importantly, will you think about the things that were done, which you would cause you to come to that answer? Like when he said for troubling David. So you say, I would say yes. And you say, okay, for troubling David. You know what I'm saying? For troubling David. And then you begin to think about the things that he did. Then you may go to think about the things that moved him to do it. Then you begin to understand the persecution of the righteous. Are you asking me, ma'am, or are you telling me? Because I'm not saying that in regards that you didn't know. I say when you say I would say yes. And then look, you mentioned, you just take your question mark off. Saul was envious. Then you go to thinking, well, why was Saul envious? Then you go to thinking about the thing that I mentioned before. Oh, Saul bringing men by the thousands, David by the 10,000s. The people loved him. He brought him in and he let him out. You go to thinking about those things. Then you begin to thinking about the persecution of the righteous. Then you begin to understand that the hatred that's manifested, remember, as it says in Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, he that despiseth not man, but Elohim. Then you begin to understand the hatred that Saul really had for Yahuwah. And he just manifested his hatred for Yahuwah onto David. When you begin to understand that, that's when you can begin to understand when people like, Saul gonna get in the kingdom, this, that, and the third. Why would he? He was unfaithful and he hated Elohim. See, if you hate someone who Yahuwah is with, who has done you no evil, as Yahushua told the scribes, you have hated me without a cause. Now you have hated both me and my father. Uh-oh. What have we done here? We have manifested how David is a manifestation of Yahushua with the scribes because he hated David. Therefore, he had to hate David and Yahuwah. Because let me ask y'all this question. Was Saul aware that Yahuwah was with David? Yes or no? So Daedra says yes. What do y'all say? Did Saul know that Yahuwah was with David? Yes or no? Because the riddle says yes. You know, always remember, man, I ask y'all questions to cause y'all to be able to think. It's just to think, to cycle things that we've read or maybe you've read on your own based off because you know where we're going to be at, and you begin to think. And then when you begin to think, you can be able to learn that you can identify the unfaithfulness and haters of Elohim based off of Saul's actions. Anybody else besides Brother Reynolds and Deidre? Because only Michael and Tavon chose to participate in the last one. Yes, he did state that he knew. He actually did. We actually read that last week. Indeed, they say especially after he brought them foreskins. So think about that in that regard. If Saul knows that Yahuwah is with David, then who does Saul really have a problem with? You know what I'm saying? Who did he really have a problem with? That's right, Brother Reynolds did put it up there because we just read that last week. Who did he really have a problem with? He really hated Yahuwah. And that is a fact. That is a fact. The first time he did show, and we talked about that already, the first time he showed that he hated Yahuwah when he didn't wait on Samuel and said he moved hastily to make that sacrifice. He showed that then. And that's right, Brother Reynolds put up there the 1 Samuel 18:12, which we already read, and how Saul was afraid of David because Yahuwah was with him. So he knew. He knew. And still tried to kill him because he wanted to kill Yahuwah. See, this is the element what I mean When I say that y'all should know the word and you should be able to identify the righteous from the wicked, it shouldn't be that hard. And you should be able to know if somebody going to get in this man's kingdom or not. People be like, Solomon ain't going to get in. But Solomon did not hate Yahuwah. Solomon had bad judgment by not following his father's instruction about marrying strange whores. You understand what I'm saying? Marrying strange whores got Solomon in trouble. Ain't nothing else you can say about Solomon other than Nehemiah let you know, didn't even outlandish women call Solomon to sin? That's why Solomon didn't follow his own proverb. Don't lust after a woman's beauty with your eyelids. You know what I'm saying? Because you could get caught up. Solomon told you they more bitter than death, and their hands are like snares and nets. And their hearts are like snares and nets, and their hands are like bands. You can get caught up and locked up. He didn't follow that because he got old. When you get old, you ain't as strong. You go for a lot of stuff when you're older. That's what he did. But you can look at Solomon's life. He didn't hate Yahuwah. You look at Saul. Saul hated Yahuwah. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That is not an if. That is not a personal opinion. Who did Solomon persecute that Yahuwah was with? Yahweh. Who did Solomon persecute whom Yahuwah was with? I know not any. Do you? Because I don't know nobody. Saul had a problem with his own son because his son was down with who Yahuwah was with. So Jonathan was hated for David's namesake. Oh, there goes another one. Now look at this here. Praise Yahuwah. Look at all that gospel that's just contained in us just talking about Saul and David. Not the entirety of the book of Samuel, even though the entirety of the book of Samuel up to about 16, chapter 16, I would say, when David is introduced. It's about the interaction between Saul and David. And when you look at the interaction of Saul and David, you see the interaction between the scribes and Yahusha and the beginning of the sufferings to enter into a kingdom and to inherit. And the ability to have trust, hope, and faith in Yahuwah and endure to get it. And then on top of that, that also elucidates even further and makes more clarity if you were not aware that, let's go to Romans chapter 8 for you real quick, line. I want you to come over here to Romans 8. You can pick it up at verse 24. Hey, Monty, I still got to go out there in this heat and test the one you got from me last week, see how that thing work out there in that heat. I read some good reviews. I was trying to rotate some other stuff in because this month is 30 days or 31 days. Fit is in fragrance. After July, I probably won't do that for a long season. I did that mainly to make myself wear certain fragrances that I haven't worn in a while. Maybe to make me wear them more often. Though it's hot outside, some of them don't work for this level of discomfort and heat, if you would. Romans 8:24. For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen. Yeah, that's what I read too. That's definitely what I read too. I want to see how that watermelon perform out there in that heat. See, this ain't for no heat. This is a little tobacco. So this little nighttime joint. You know what I'm saying? D ain't gonna do nothing but talk trash about it. It smell like all the other ones you got. That's why I like Oud Forest. It smells different. For we are saved by hope, but hope is not that is seen is not hope. For what a man see, why do he yet hope for? You have to remember, David did not see that he was going to be king, but yet he had a hope for it. He told David he was going to be king, but he didn't see it. Let's continue. Likewise, the Ruach also help our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Ruach itself make intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. And he that searched the hearts know what is the mind of the Ruach, because he make intercession for the faithful according to the will of Elohim. And we know that all things work together for the good to them that love Elohim and to them who are called according to his purpose. You have to understand that David was called according to his purpose. But now we have to ask ourselves this question. What was the Yahuwah's purpose for calling David? Can y'all riddle me that? Daedra gave an answer. I want to see what y'all answer going to be on the screen. What was Yahuwah's purpose for calling David? And saying he going to be king? Insufficient. A manifestation. Look at Daedra over there. I can't see it, but I can hear it though. It's many layers to that. So this is not a one-trick pony, if you would, i.e., this is not a one answer and you're done. There's multiple things that you could mention. Stanley says to show a man after his own heart. What was Yahuwah's purpose for calling David? When I say what is his purpose, he say all things work to the good of those who love Elohim and are called according to his purpose. What was Yahuwah's purpose for calling David? Let's get the Greek word for purpose for the people in the back. Purpose here is prothes, setting forth of a thing or placing it in view, the shewbread, but in this instance, simply just purpose.
Show people that he was great. That's who they chose.
Daedra out here spitting them out like grape seeds, not lies either. She over there rolling. Y'all can't hear though. She over there rolling. He established his kingdom through the Mashiach. Daedra mentioned that one. Now, of course, y'all mentioned being a man after his own heart. Number one of the first things, and we're basically talking about it right now, is that, and you must endure tribulation to inherit the kingdom of Elohim. Daedra just mentioned something, we'd have mentioned that before, the greatness of the one who Yahuwah chooses versus the one who the people do. Showing you the love and righteous judgment of Elohim manifested in a man. There's many, many things that's contained in that all point to Mashiach. Doing the same thing. See, we go through these stories of your ancestors, your forefathers, your progenitors, great and good, righteous men, shoot, even some wicked ones. And we don't really sit back and pay attention to nuance. So I've told y'all this for many, many years. The salvation is in the nuance. Because where is the nuance at? It's in the details. When you're paying attention to the details, that means you are seeking to understand Elohim's character. Who he is, how he operates, what he agrees with, what he doesn't agree with. What he condones, what he doesn't condone. Who he rewards, who he discards. The way that he operates. But most importantly, his testimony is contained in all of that, in which your faith can be unlocked. See, a lot of people's faith is locked. And it's locked because you're not paying attention to the things that are really right before your face. That's why, by the grace of Elohim, by way of Yahushua HaMashiach, we take our time with certain stuff. Don't even rush through it. This, that, and the third, so you can understand. Because when you can understand, then you can become it. So you can't become what you don't understand. Like, put it to you this way, because this just came to my mind, so it's relevant. You'll see women of this time say, why are you making your life revolve around a man? Why you want to lose yourself in a man? And when I hear that type of stuff out loud, I know that these women hate God. Now, these women may not know that they do. I want you to understand that that's not disparaging anybody, but they do not understand that they're bearing witness against themselves in this natural matter. Because if you're looking on a natural level, that you couldn't make your life revolve around a man, or that you could not lose your identity to become one with that man, how could you do it with Yahusha? How could you come to this man and say, I'll make my whole life revolve around him? I will lose myself to become one with him because I'm yielding to him. Going back to what we were talking about on Wednesday about submitting. This is what I'm going to do. And when you and when you have that type of thought process, you're not going to do it. Why I want my life to revolve? What about me? See, when I don't care who you are, male or female, once you go to beginning to looking at life and you go to thinking about once the words "what about me" come out of your mouth, whether in your heart or out your lips, in relation to something that you should be doing that is greater than you, you're a selfish bastard. Ain't no way in the world you're going to tell me you're going to save your soul. Not with that attitude. I'm not saying that you can't never do it. I'm talking about with that attitude, with that mindset. How do you expect to pull that off? Because eventually that thought process of what about me and what I want is going to rear its ugly head at the wrong time when you're going to have to make a decision that could either cost you your life. And a lot of time, most people are going to make the decision that rewards them selfishly. Always remember, Mashiach said, I did not come to be ministered unto, but to minister, to make my life a ransom for many. This man understood that I did not come here to get what I want. I came here to be able to serve others, to give them what they need. A lot of individuals miss that point. That's why a lot of people in this world are miserable, more specifically over here in the West. That's why many, many people over here are miserable and unfulfilled, because you're selfish. Have you ever met a fulfilled, selfish person? See, you think they fulfilled because they may have monetary wealth, or they may have a lot of material items, and people are telling them how great they are and how much they love them. But a lot of those people, they're not happy. Now, I'm not going to tell you that if you get your money up, you're not going to be happy, because that's a lie. Because everybody knows you've been poor. Ain't no joy and happiness in being poor. And niggas love to romanticize being poor. Ain't nothing happy about being poor. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing happy about being poor. And let's not tell that lie, especially if you've been poor. I've been poor before, boy. Ain't nothing happy about that junk, man. I'm not finna sit here and tell nobody, yeah, man, it's a great thing, no, to be. Nah, it is not. It's not. There's nothing great about wondering if you're going to eat today. There's nothing great about wondering where you're going to stay or not having proper garments to put on your body. Ain't nothing great about none of that. You know what I'm saying? Your money answer all things. So that ain't no issue. So don't be sitting around here making people feel. See, the thing is when you set your heart on it and you become it, and that's all you motivated by, that means you love it. Ain't nothing, I'm telling you, if you see only niggas who ain't never been poor, be talking about, you ain't nothing wrong with being poor. Nigga, you lying. Ain't nothing good about that junk, man. Ain't nothing excitable about it. Ain't nothing around here to remember, to be esteeming and romanticizing about. Man, you remember them days we eat? Woo, boy, but we ain't never know we were poor, nigga. You knew you were poor, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, we saying, I ain't know I was poor. Stop. That nigga knew. That nigga lying. You know what I'm saying? It's much better to be able to eat what you like versus eating what you can. You know what I'm saying? Nevertheless, whether we eating what we like or eating what we can, we give thanks to Yahuwah. Whether we wearing what we want or wearing what we can, we give thanks to Yahuwah. See, that's the difference. Don't make no difference how it go. Whether this is what I want or this is what I got, I thank Yahuwah for it, because I couldn't have anything at all. You know what I'm saying? If I was sitting around here, I ain't gonna say that one now, because we can't eat that. I just would think about my granddaddy. Granddaddy made a nigga spam every day. You think if this man had money, we'd be eating spam? Do you really think if that man had money like he wanted to, that we'd be eating spam? I would probably say yes, because he's from the backwoods of Louisiana. But nevertheless, I would still bet it that his money was at a point that he said he was desirable. He wouldn't have fed me spam. Spam lasts. You can make a lot of things with it. But at the end of the day, if your money is good, you ain't eating no spam. Niggas don't get rich and go sit around and still eat Vienna sausages. Nigga don't get no money talking about I need to remember my po days and eat beanies and weenies. Oh, I feel you on that, and that's even harsher. Especially where y'all stay, no heat, no hot water, no lights. Nigga don't want to experience that, man. Nigga ain't what's the romanticize about that? Ooh, boy, you remember them days we ain't had no lights? Well, we're cold in that house, boy. Ooh, boy, we're cold in that, boy, but we had each other. Shoot, nigga, I'd rather have lights than be here by myself. Nigga, it's 20 degrees outside. We ain't got no heat. And you talking about we got each other. Nigga, I don't want to bond over that. I don't want my seed to bond over that. That's crazy. Shoot, man. I didn't want to be comfortable. Y'all know what the book say. You know what I'm saying? Just give me food convenient for me. That's all I ask. Just give me food convenient for me. I don't need nothing else other than that. I don't need nothing other than that. Where we at, man? I'm on 7%. Ain't that a funky hoe? We get out of here. I just ain't seen a perfect segue for it at this time. Let's hold where we at in 1 Samuel 18 for tomorrow, because it's about 11:16 out. Come over here to Revelation chapter 7. This will be pretty quick. You can get your Revelation 7, Revelation 14, who wanted to know about the saints. Our connection is unstable. The saints and who they will judge and what they will be doing in regards of judging. I mean, Revelation chapter 7. Now, of course, you know it runs down from verses 1 to 8 about, no, I need Revelation 14, because about 144, 12,000 from each tribe. So, you know, 12,000 ain't coming from Ephraim. 12,000 ain't coming from Manasseh. Well, I take that back. It is on there. I'm thinking about something else. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the gate. You won't get 12,000 from Dan, but what you see is 12,000 from each tribe. I'm sorry. I definitely would think about the gates just then. So you got your you got Judah, you got your Reuben, you got Gad, you got Asher, you got Naphtali, you got Manasseh, Simeon, Issachar, Levi, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. Why you have Manasseh and not Ephraim? As simple as this. Ephraim and Manasseh are one and the same. They're one and the same. Also with Ephraim and Manasseh, you can also interject Dan in that if you would. Because Joseph has to have a gate because Joseph is one of the sons of Yasharal. If you recall from the law, when Jacob blessed them both, they're counted as the seed. And that's why you see Manasseh there and not Ephraim, because if you see Manasseh, you see Ephraim. Just like he told you, if you see me, then you've seen my father. Come over here to Revelation chapter 14. 14 and 1. I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. I heard a voice from Shamahim as many waters, as a voice of great thunder, four beasts and elders, and no man can learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goes. These were those that were redeemed from men, being the first fruits unto Elohim and to the Lamb, and in their mouth was found. Do these men have to be undefiled with women? We're gonna make some people. You got Brews who be coming up with stuff that people like, see, this means that because they have such a strong desire to be a part of 144,000 when you ain't got nothing to do with that. That's Yahuwah's choice, whom he chose to be in that number. That ain't need nothing nobody need to be concerned with. I done heard so many dudes try to explain that away, man. See they virgins for this year. See, the virgin really mean you ain't did this and you ain't did that. But who recalls why they are literal virgins and why they must be virgins? Does anybody recall? Dang, I just took it right off the page. David, you recall? Do you recall? I need medical attention. But no, the question was, why does 144,000 have to be undefiled with women? Why is that them being virgins is a caveat? To be pure and set apart, that's what you say? Is that your final answer? Yeah. She tired, y'all. She always tired too. Any of you brothers and sisters got something y'all want to add with that? Or do I got to go ahead and share it with you? You tell me if I need to share it with you. Woo! Not defiled with strange doctrines. Kira said, share it, please. Kira, you were there for that. You not already? Well, I'm going to share something with y'all. First and foremost, I'm going to share with you the Greek word for defiled. They got to be first fruits like Yahusha. When you look at maluno, that is to pollute, that is to stain. Eric says no spot, no blemish. Tavon mentions, yes, if it wasn't for them, the whole world would be destroyed. Then they got on here using the New Testament, those who have kept themselves. Virgins in Greek, in this particular passage, is parnothos, literally a virgin. A woman who has never whoredom, attended on idolatry, so as to kept his chastity. So you see, that's where people look at it, right? They say, oh, they ain't laid with idol gods. And then you have to look at literal no sex. Well, you would have to sit back and look at it. If they're the first fruits redeemed from the earth to go with the Lamb wherever he goes, then they would have to be just as he was. Because he did not defile himself with women. And in the physical sense, he was a virgin. That man never had sex. Now, of course, we talked about this previously in that regard. And Standard did mention that the unclean, to have sex with a woman, you're going to do something. You're going to ejaculate. And when you ejaculate, you are deemed unclean. Nevertheless, let's return to this Ezra 7, because we got to get out of here. We still got Yahuwah permitting by close to 2 hours worth of time. So thank the Lord. 7 and 23 of Ezra. Whatsoever is commanded by the Elohim of Shamahim, let it be diligently done for the house of the Elohim of Shamahim. For why should there be wrath against the realm of the king and his sons? We certify you, touching any of the priests and Levites, singers, porters, nethems, or ministers of the house of Elohim, it shall not be lawful to impose toll, tribute, or custom upon them. And you, Ezra, after the wisdom of your Elohim that is in your hands, send magistrates and judges, which may judge all the people that are beyond the river. All such as know the laws of your Elohim, teach you them that know them not. And whosoever will not do the law of your Elohim and the law of the king, let judgment be executed speedily upon them, whether it be unto death or banishment or confiscation of goods or to imprisonment. That's what we kind of see in that second Thessalonians 1. Anybody who would not do this man's word or the law of the king. You notice how he got you right there? Because don't he tell you about to keep the split that apart and see how that's also contained, because the word is the word. You know what I'm saying? The word is the word, and it's all the same. Well, I'll get to that in a moment. Verse 27, blessed be Yahuwah Elohim of our fathers, which have put such a thing as in the king's heart to beautify the house of Yahuwah, which is in Jerusalem. And he extended mercy unto me before the king and his counselors and before all the king's mighty princes. I was strengthened as the hand of Yahuwah my Elohim was upon me, and I gathered together out of Yasharal chief men to go up with me. That's what we just seen in Revelation 14. Mount Zion, the chief men, because those are the chief men of 12,000 out of every tribe, go up with him. Well, why is that important? Because those chief men, as you see, are have the ability to execute judgment to those who won't follow word. We just seen that. Did we not just read that? Yes, we did. We go to Psalm 49, and you see where he go to talking about, hey, let the saints have the praise of Elohim in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute the judgment written and to put their kings in fetters and irons. See, they're nobles and governors, so they will rule with him. See, you're going to have Yahusha, you're going to have them 12 apostles, them 144,000 up under that. That also comes from Jeremiah 30, when your nobles and governors shall be of themselves. But hallelujah for Yahusha in the word. I bless everybody at the house of Yahuwah in the name of Yahusha. I appreciate y'all this evening. I appreciate you rolling with me. If you roll when we were serving on somebody else's block, and then I appreciate you coming back to your own block. I appreciate you rolling with me, even though we can't start a little late, but it wasn't because we were late to do that is. But keep yourself firm and rooted. We got many more things to do. We will revisit that. I mean, at Ezra 7 and 26 about the law of Elohim and the law of the king. So now there's the delineation. Well, that's everything in the book, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. The word of Yahuwah is the most beautiful thing I've ever encountered. There's nothing like it. Blessed be the Elohim of Yasharal in the name of Yahusha for his grace, mercy, his wisdom, and understanding. For without it, we would surely be dead men. Let us continue to walk in the faith of Elohim and strengthen ourselves in his righteousness, that we might receive a full reward. Yahuwah willing, till tomorrow.